Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new video on the Infinite Baffle channel. My name is Noel and I hope this video finds you really well and enjoying your weekend. Today we're going to be doing a video based around the ATC SCM40A active floor standing loudspeakers. I've got one sat next to me at the moment. We actually did a video a while ago around the SCM40 passive and comparing those to the POWERHOUSE D20Rs, and you guys absolutely loved that video. I spoke about in that one how much I loved ATC as a brand, how I really like their signature detailed sound. So today we're going to be looking at the actives, how do they compare to the passives, and just how good do they sound for the £8,500 price tag. As always, if you do enjoy this video, find it helpful, make sure to leave a thumbs up on the video as well as your thoughts and feedback in the comment section down below. Thank you as always for your fantastic support that you show on the channel. And yeah, without any further ado, let's get right on into it. We'll be kicking things off by talking about the design and the aesthetics of the SCM40As here, and whilst we're doing that, I will put some footage in the background of me unboxing these for the very first time, but principally, I mean, they are identical to the SCM40 passives. If you look at them from the front, they are no different whatsoever to their passive counterparts. However, where the big difference lies is on the rear of the speaker, where you can see the module panel, where the power is built in, that of course gives these the ability to be an active loudspeaker. You can also see the XLR connection ports on the back as well, but generally speaking, they are identical to the passive model. Coming in at 36 kilograms per speaker, they're pretty weighty, as you might expect with the fact that they've got the amplification built into them, but they're just generally a really nice old school industrial design. I mean, industrial is definitely the word that comes to mind when I see these, unquestionably, and I think the fact that the grille that comes with them as well is like just a metal mesh, very basic, very almost rustic looking accessory, kind of backs that up as well. They're kind of no frills, quite simple, but I think they can go in pretty much any setting as well. I mean, they come in the cherry finish, which is the one that I've got next to me here, as well as black and white, so not a whole lot of options in terms of colours, but again, especially this cherry one, I think is absolutely stunning, and I can't think of a setting where it wouldn't fit in. Don't be mistaking the fact that I describe them as no frills as to thinking that they're low quality. I mean, obviously, £8,500, you'd certainly hope that the build quality is there, but unquestionably, if you give them a little brace test, a little knock on the side, you can see they are a real high quality piece of manufacturing. And again, the cones and drivers here, all very simple and straightforward, but again, really high quality. Sticking with the tweeters and drivers, actually the tweeter itself is a 25mm dual suspension soft dome tweeter. Then you have the 75mm mid-range driver, as well as the 164mm low frequency driver, all three of these being soft dome. Moving on into the technical specifications, I will put some of the key tech specs in the background for you guys to look at now, and the things that are going to jump out straight away: £8,500 retail, as we've already touched upon, but 242 watts of built-in Class AB power is absolutely incredible. And I actually think one of the key things that separates the active model from the passive is the fact that not only you've got 242 watts of power, but also the fact that it's going to be custom built to go and get the most out of the SCM40As, and we'll be talking a bit more about that later in the video. They also have a really impressive peak SPL of 112 decibels, as well as also having a really wide frequency response range, going from 48 Hz all the way to 22 kilohertz. On paper, that means then that these speakers should not only be able to operate at really high volumes with great control, but they'll also be able to dig out those low lows and offer a really crispy mid-range as well. One thing that we didn't touch upon actually in the design and aesthetics is just the sheer size of the SCM40As. They come in at just shy of 100 centimeters tall. They're pretty chunky floor standing speakers. By no stretch the biggest floor stander you're going to see, but still unquestionably designed to go into a larger space, and the sound that they put out also reflects that, as we'll come on to discuss in just a moment. One other thing that's really important to touch upon is the fact that these, although they are active speakers, have a fixed output when it comes to volume. And what that means is that you're going to need a pre to go into them to give you that volume control. Without doing that, you're basically going to be running them at full volume, and you're likely to blow them up basically. So you aren't going to need a pre to go along with them. We use the name NSC333, a unit that we've used in a couple of videos recently and spoken about in depth, but again did a really good job and paired seamlessly with the ATCs here. So then, just how do the SCM40A sound? How do they perform? Well, I mentioned this at the very start of the video. ATC is a brand, a manufacturer that I am a big fan of. I've loved the SCM40's passive in the past, the SCM19s. I think they do a great job because they've got this signature sound that they always stick to, and it sounds absolutely phenomenal. It's a great combination of control, of detail, and of a really natural, transparent sound. And the SCM40As are no exception to that. And I think the fact that they've got this built-in power that's tailor-made for getting the most out of them really elevates them to that next level compared to the 40 passive. We'll talk a bit more about a comparison in the summary at just the end, and I will also include a sound test of the speakers, so hopefully some of the points that I'm talking about you'll be able to pick up on in the video as well. Whenever we're testing a pair of speakers that on paper has got this really wide frequency range and the ability to pick out huge amounts of natural detail, one of the go-to tracks for us here is the track Sail Away by David Gray. Now, some of you might wonder why we'd go for that track, but there's actually a very good reason, because at the start of the track there's a really deep bass note, and not every pair of speakers that you listen to is actually able to pick this up and replicate it. But the SCM40As not only picked it up, but it was very, very clear. And to be honest with you, I would expect nothing less from ATC, because that is exactly the kind of area that they shine in, that detail, that replication, and that natural transparent sound. So a big tick went next to them for that straight off the bat. ATC just seem to have this cocktail of characteristics that go really, really well together. Again, the detail, the natural, clear, transparent imaging that they give you, and the big soundstage, which is never more prevalent. I mean, you've got these at medium to high volumes. They sound absolutely incredible. However, what I would say is that I think a lot of that does get lost at the lower volumes. I think if you're someone that's doing low-level listening, the detail just doesn't quite seem to shine through as much as it does on the medium to high levels. And I also think that, again, I kind of touched upon it earlier, you need a larger room to really maximize the most out of these. I just think they'd be a little bit overwhelming in a smaller room. And then again, if you're kind of sacrificing the volume to make them work in a smaller room, that's where you kind of lose the real edge that the SCM40As give you, in my opinion. I also don't think that the SCM40As are the punchiest speakers I've ever heard, but that doesn't mean they lack low end in any form whatsoever. It's more of a smooth bass delivery rather than a punchier in your face one, which I personally really, really enjoy. And what I do think that means is that the SCM40As here are definitely more tailored for a musical kind of system as opposed to an AV cinema room style system. Now, do I think they could work in an AV setting? Yes, but undoubtedly they are tuned and designed to get the most out of a musical style system, in my opinion. Whenever we're testing any speaker, we always like to try and listen to a big variety of music to try and put the speakers through their paces. And I must say, no matter what we were listening to, the 40As here performed incredibly, incredibly well. Listening to the new Men I Trust album, which has got a bit more laid back, poppy, jazzy tones, sounded absolutely sensational with that kind of natural replication of the instruments involved. And then from there, we went on to listen to Sleep Token's new album, which is a completely different style of music, very aggressive, very hard hitting, and again, it just filled the room so well. The accuracy and the timing of the 40As here is absolutely incredible as well, and I sometimes use the word musical when it comes to describing a speaker, and it's very difficult to really put your finger on what musical really means, but it is just that, the timing, the accuracy, the natural replication of the instruments. It sounds very real when you're listening to them, is the best way that I can describe it. It's always tricky when it comes to speakers that have this kind of style as well, because yes, they're very musical. I think they're wonderful with the balance and the sound staging that they offer, but because of that level of detail that they give you, some people will undoubtedly find that a little bit fatiguing. It's almost like a studio analytical kind of sound, and to me, I very much think it depends how you do your listening. To me, do I find them fatiguing at all? Not whatsoever. I could happily listen to these all day long, but I'm sure there's some people out there that because of the analytical nature of them, that might be a bit of a drawback. Overall, I mean, ATC, they're a brand, that are a manufacturer that have been around for some time now. This is not their first rodeo, and they really have nailed a recipe. These are a high quality, high performance floor standing speaker, and I just think the fact you've got all that power built into them means that when you get them, you know you're going to be getting the absolute most out of them. You don't have to worry about pairing them up with a suitable amplifier, something that's going to match them and help get the most out of them. That's already all built in. Yes, you're going to have to get a pre for that volume control, but still, these are just going to work, and they're going to work incredibly well. Now, there is a drawback to that, because there are a lot of people out there that like to kind of tailor the sound of a speaker, like to push it, mold it, take it in a certain direction. Obviously, you don't have the ability to do that so much here, and you know, the £4,000 plus price difference between the passives and the actives, I'm sure there's some people out there that will say, yeah, you know what, I'll save the £4,000 and I'll take that, I'll get an amplifier that works for me, and then I can kind of tailor the sound to something that I like. But I don't think you can look past the fact that, again, what's built into these is designed to go with them. It's designed to get the most out of them, and I think that really shows. If you're someone that's listened to ATC in the past, you know that sound signature that they have, and the 40As here really do nail that. Again, they live up to everything that you would expect from ATC, whether it's the detailed sound, whether it's the build quality. The whole package is absolutely outstanding. Again, in my mind, certainly a more musical speaker, and it's not without its drawbacks, which again, for £8,500, a lot of people out there would say, well, I want something that's going to be absolutely perfect for me, and I don't think it is perfect for everybody. I think this is definitely something that's going to be not Marmite, but there are people that are going to really love it, and some people that are going to say, you know what, the detail's too much, I need something that's better at the lower volumes. But for what you want a speaker of this level to do, it does so much of it to such a high level. It is a great option. The 40A is of course a speaker that have been on the market for at least a couple of years now, off the top of my head. So if you are someone that's ever had the chance to listen to them in the past, or maybe you even own a pair, I would love to hear your thoughts on the sound. What's it like living with them? You know, let me know in the comment section down below. Always really interesting to hear. I mean, ATC is a brand, again, I think they've got a real nailed down recipe, and I am a huge fan of it. ATC just as a brand are exceptional, and the 40As as a speaker, absolutely phenomenal. But that's just about going to close out this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you have tuned in and enjoyed the video, I would love to hear your thoughts. Make sure to leave a thumbs up on the video, and enjoy the rest of your weekend. We'll see you all in the next video.